Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tato's Hardcore Media. Going over JLR this morning. I was actually about to go to bed when this came up, and of course, I clicked on it and everything. Gotta click on that when you hear that. Uh, Anyways, give his thoughts about whether military is going to be used to deport illegals, checkpoints, stuff like that. And everybody has their thoughts on it and stuff like that. Um, let's go on and see what's happening.
Breaking news, everyone. JLR investigates. Come on in. I got some breaking news
Give him a
for
like.
everyone.
Check out
We
his
cover
channel.
the
That's some
border
good stuff on
migrant
there.
crisis on JLR Investigates. This is the go-to channel when it comes to the border. We've been all across the southern border and the northern border covering what's going on, boots on the ground. I want to share some new information this morning.
I was thinking I need to go over to Darien Gap and how dangerous that is and everything. I need to do something on that. Um, what they have to go through to get through the Darien Gap and to actually get to the border and everything is something that people need to be educated on. Very dangerous, full of cannibal tribes from South Central America. And unless you have protection and pay the cartel, they'll let you get killed. And some of the cartel, of course, is even afraid of some of the tribes there. But you have to pretty much pay your way to get through some of that. And some of the areas of the Darien Gap, the cartels will help you get through. A lot of people get killed from the Darien Gap on their way to Mexico and stuff, getting through. So,
The president-elect of the United States, Donald Trump, has confirmed today that he will be declaring a national emergency and deploying the military to help with mass deportations. This is huge, folks. He's going to deploy the military for mass deportations. Let's talk. Come on in. Come on in. The military getting involved here. Now, what does that mean? I don't know at this point. Does the military go into these sanctuary cities to start rounding people up with Border Patrol, with ICE, and the other federal agencies with the help of state police and local police? I don't know, but this will be very, very interesting. So this is breaking this morning. I want to share. He does confirm numerous media outlets, and I'll even share CNN because CNN is also confirming that Trump said this. So Trump said he's responding to a post by Tom Fitton talking about, look at this. Look at this right here. Trump confirms he is prepared to declare a national emergency and use military assets to carry out his mass deportation pledge. And here is a post. Good news. Reports are the incoming President-elect Donald Trump administration preparing to declare a national emergency and will use military assets to reverse the Biden invasion through a mass deportation program. And he retweeted him. True. So this is big news, folks. Covering the border that we have on this channel, and check out all the videos.
and no matter what people may think about the border and stuff like that, I have some Native American in me back in the 1800s. I don't know what tribe or whatever, because of stuff like that. A lot of people don't know about it. But the rest of the family, of course, besides cousins, stuff like that, is we all are a nation of immigrants. Thing is, we were given free benefits. We were not given free food. We were not given money. In fact, a lot of us were shitted on. immigrating to the United States. You had the Irish, you had the Italians, stuff like that. Scotch as well. Oh man, the hate that happened to the Irish and the Italians. Man, wrongly so. And you had, they vetted you, and a lot of times, if you were able to make your way, they wouldn't let you in. If you were sick, they would not let you in. They would keep you on the ship. You could not get in. And people, all these millions that have been coming through, have been getting free benefits at the cost of Americans. So that and gangs, cartels, human sex trafficking, that's going to piss people off. And we already have gang problems. When you add to that all these different states, and the sex and human trafficking, that's going to piss people off. And people before weren't as wide awake as they are now. Not only that, but they're taking our jobs as well, at the cost of lower, pay, lower salaries. So there's a reason why people voted for Trump. We don't agree with everything that Trump is about. We don't. And everyone's going to pick and choose their fights accordingly on both sides. I'm an independent. There's stuff I like and don't like about him. And in this election, I think the Republicans won California. They're just not going to admit it. I believe that they won California. But I'm not for our side, just about policy for me.
We have lots and lots, hundreds and hundreds of videos. This is big because, Texas is already declared a state of emergency. Texas has their National Guard at the border, Operation Lone Star. Abbott, he's been making a...
And the thing is, what pisses me off, the stupid border patrol under Biden, you have these pieces of shit, border patrol agents that would cut the razor wire, would destroy the fences and let the illegals in. Real pieces of shit at the border patrol. It's like, what the fuck? The sex trafficking that's happening, the criminals are getting through. Before they come into the border, they have visas. They rip them up before they come in. So we don't know who's coming or going. Like I said, I'm for a legal vetting process, just like our ancestors did. As long as you don't take resources away from Americans and stuff. There's a proper way of doing things.
A lot of posts in the last few days talking about their what's the word I'm looking for? They're kicking it up a notch. They're kicking it up a notch, expecting a possible surge to come across, but they're going to stop it at all cost. So now you have the president-elect Donald Trump, which one of his campaign promises was to do mass deportations and fix the border crisis, is now going to declare a national emergency. Is that martial law? What is that? What does that mean? There's a couple news reports out here, News Nation and NBC put out a clip about this possible scenario, what could happen here. It's
more dependent. News Nation is dependent from Fox, CNN type of one-sided political stuff. Depends, but isn't there like Straight Arrow News? There's a lot of independent places, but
This morning, President-elect Trump signaling a major move on immigration, responding true to a post on his social media platform, saying he will declare a national emergency and use military assets for a mass deportation program. A program he pledged to implement during his campaign, which focused in part on immigration and the southern border.
The Republican platform promises to launch the largest deportation operation in the history of our country.
And he's promised to use the military as enforcement in the past.
We must use any and all resources needed to stop the invasion, including moving thousands of troops currently stationed overseas.
Now, as Mr. Trump nods to his immigration plans and prepares for office, he's also facing a fight in...
Again, I gotta put this JLR investigates right down there. Be sure to give him a like, look at stuff. I use his for news, so I gotta give him a shout out and everything else. It's only proper. And he wants the news to get out about this anyway. Obviously it did with the election, so.
Washington on some of the picks for his new administration.
A standing ovation.
After taking in a different kind of fight at a UFC match with allies this weekend. The spotlight now on his choice to lead the Pentagon, former Fox News anchor Pete Hegseth. His attorney confirms to NBC News Hegseth paid a settlement to a woman last year after she previously accused him of sexual assault in 2017. But the attorney says Hegseth...
All right, so they basically did this here. I'll do this also here. This is a News Nation report because they're jumping into these cabinet picks. Though I do think his cabinet picks have a lot to go with this mass deportation because it seems like what Trump is going to do is allocate a lot of the military that are overseas and plant them back into the United States, which would require, the Secretary of Defense to be on board with all that and move assets from around the world back down to the United States with a plan of no foreign wars.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen, everybody. You think that's going to happen? Hell fucking no. It's not. It's not going to happen. There's still going to be Ukraine. There's still going to be Israel stuff. I mean, stuff with Israel, I mean, they got way too far with Gaza and stuff. I think, I have some Jewish, that's 1,000 years ago. Man, the other countries, we should be doing that stuff. We should, there's stuff with, defunct ISIS, ISIL. There's different things we do need to be so involved in, but not even close. We need to get rid of a lot of stuff, a lot of the junk. Policy to end these wars is total bullshit. People that believe that's going to happen, get your marbles together.
Intervention whatsoever, but handling a national crisis, which seems to be the border, and we can all agree, whether who you support politically, that the border is a complete, utter mess.
There is no
border. It needs to be fixed because the system that was designed for the last 3 years would have not sustained itself. It was out of control. You don't know who's coming in. I mean, I'm reading across the board right now. The killer of Laken Riley was confirmed a gang member of Tren de Aragua, the Venezuelan gang that's, going across the country in going into communities and doing drugs and human trafficking and gunslinging and taking over buildings. That group itself, the killer of Laken Riley, is a member of. That has been confirmed today for the very first time. Let's listen more about this mass deportation from News Nation.
And to politics this morning, President-elect Trump is hoping for a speedy confirmation process for his cabinet picks. But one top nominee is dealing with blowback now from new accusations. Military veteran and Fox News host Pete Hegseth is pushing back on allegations of sexual assault stemming from an investigation in California back in 2017. News Nation's Brooke Schaefer joining us now live this morning with the latest. Brooke, before we get to that, though, wanted to share something that just came down from overnight. The president-elect shed some light on his plan for mass deportations. What's he saying on Truth Social?
Marky, overnight, the president-elect announcing on Truth Social that he is prepared to tackle immigration by declaring a national emergency. The president-elect confirmed reports that his administration will use military assets to enforce mass deportation, saying the plans will, quote, reverse the Biden...
I got to call out Pete Hegseth and him in another, I guess, sexual assault allegations. Democrats do this as well. I don't know about his case, Hegseth, I don't know about ours, but Democrats, all stuff, they have hush money fund in Congress and for Democrats and Republicans, they have hush money funds there, and that is like X amount of hundreds of millions for that I think both sides could use to hush people up. So I mean, both sides, I mean, it's going to be interesting what happens. I just want to focus on this border stuff.
Invasion of immigrants coming into the U.S. Our partners over
That's
at The
different.
Hill report over 1.5 million people currently live and work in the country and have a humanitarian or temporary legal status. They are at risk of being pushed out by the Trump administration. Mass deportations, this is something that Trump has long promised on the campaign trail. He recently brought on former ICE Director Tom Homan
Yeah, I guess that's
as his
2017.
border czar. Homan, a staunch critic of Biden border policies and a supporter of Trump's plans for mass deportations, has already told illegal immigrants to start packing. Homan will be in charge of carrying out Trump's plans at the border, including these plans for mass deportations, which now Trump overnight confirms will include the military. Marky?
And Brooke, going back to the beginning there, what
Military, folks. Military mass deportations. It seems like it's coming. When will it come? It seems like Trump is getting these cabinet members to align with his policies. It seems like he's selecting these individuals that he feels like he's going to, his vision for America, and including the Secretary of Defense, who has his own scandals going on. I do believe every single cabinet pick, including Matt Gaetz, is going to be confirmed, whether people like it or not. I think he's going to probably get the cabinet that he wants. And one of the things will be the military. The military, a lot of people are paying attention to the military, what the military is up to.
Because they have the
I
House and
heard,
Senate.
overnight in the last, 24 hours, we got things going on with Russia and Ukraine. I think ultimately that issue will be settled. I really do think that issue will be settled. And military, the U.S. military that's all around the world, I think it's going to be shifted around. And I do think that the military might take over our borders. Might go down to the southern border, or might go into cities. Go into cities, or go, outside the jail.
And honestly, wouldn't you rather have our military protect our borders than fight proxy wars? I think so. I think everybody could agree on that. Maybe not. I do. That's me. And a lot of others, obviously, that turned out for the vote.
Jails and the prisons where, a lot of these migrants that come in the country committing crimes in sanctuary cities, and then ICE puts detainers on there, and ICE, these cities do not comply with the ICE detainers. I think the military possibly could be sitting outside the jails waiting for people to be released if sanctuary cities don't comply with ICE detainers. But I'm seeing a fundamental shift here on other things going on, right? It's very, very interesting because I don't know if you guys heard, but MSNBC this morning, the two host morning.
Yeah, I see somebody, Monica, Biden helping Ukraine, he's got his file, but yeah. Some people are a bit stupid to think that Trump is just going to end everything. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Joe, I mean, they pretty much said that they went to Mar-a-Lago and spoke with the president, and they're going to be, instead of being critical of him, they're going to understand him more, and I think they're going to shift with their coverage, because MSNBC is definitely a news organization that was pro-immigration and would call out or say everything is wrong with how, the Trump administration or, how state of Texas is handling the migrant crisis. I think there's been a shift. Not only that, but also Canada, folks. Canada, because Canada is another country where people are crossing in the United States illegally, and Canada has had an immigration problem in the last few years. And Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, just put out a statement yesterday, a 6-minute statement, admitting that they made mistakes about immigration, and now they're suddenly going to slow and stop immigration into Canada. Imagine that.
Bullshit.
Imagine that. All these years, with the Biden administration's policies, Canada was like, we are welcome to immigrants, and immigrants are welcome here. But it seems like it created a big problem with Canada, and I feel that this election, which is shifting the president towards Trump. Trump is now the president. I think Canada is now like suddenly on board with what Trump is doing, or Canada's having the appearance that we are going to stop immigration ourselves, because they have like worker immigration and permanent resident immigration, and they're saying that the whole system has been exploited and people taking advantage of people. So we're going to listen to Justin Trudeau here, because this is the timing. It's the timing of everything.
I mean, that dictator, a lot of people hate that guy, but not everyone is, like, from Canada, UK, is appointed by the people. They're not always appointed by the people. So he got rid of guns too, and the reason why we have guns is to stop dictatorship, as well as being able to hunt food, which you need to be able to do in some places in Canada. And in the U.S., people just choose to live their life without going to the market. That and self-defense. But I'm a huge advocate for guns. In case when you use it against government, or law enforcement, that goes rogue or corrupt. So, and I could put a lot of videos how corrupt law enforcement and government is, but
it's the timing of everything. Suddenly Trump is in, and all these people seem like they're aligning with Trump, or falling in line. Mayor Adams. Guess what, folks? Mayor Adams. Before I play Justin Trudeau, I just want to show this picture here. Mayor Adams, the New York mayor. Guess where he was at over the weekend? He was with Trump at the UFC. Mayor Adams with Trump at the UFC.
Holy fuck, that's what the picture was,
and they had a conversation when they were there. Interesting. So interesting, right? Because now Adams, you were seeing in New York that they're shutting down the...
let's just go over Adams here, okay? They threw him under the bus. He's facing prison time with felonies. And a lot of his inner circle of politicians they had there in New York, they're also facing a lot of prison time with corruption charges. And Adams didn't like where he was thrown under a bus and was not protected by fellow Democrats, especially when it came to illegals and housing them. Cost them like $34,000 a day or something, with all the illegals and housing them in motels, hotels, and other stuff, and ran out of money.
The migrant shelters we see in upstate New York, they're stopping the .go programs to put migrants in hotels. Mayor Adams has been speaking out, acknowledging Trump as a president, and acknowledging that he's going to work with the president-elect, and acknowledging that there is a migrant crisis that needs to be fixed. He's not...
Well, what Adams is, if I were to do all this BS for the Biden administration and these other idiots that is trading American resources and giving everything that Americans work for, giving it freely for free to illegals to come through. And then they let him just get run over by a bus, so to speak, politically. And you're gonna say fuck you, F you to the party. I just try to save myself what I can for damage that you put on me as well. I did all this stuff for you guys to protect me, from these felony charges.
Not necessarily in support of mass deportations, but it seems like he is going to cooperate with the Trump administration. He's seen right here with Trump.
Yes.
At the UFC, front row. Now listen to Trudell. You've heard all this years of talk by Trudell when Biden was in office, and Trudell saying my immigrants are welcome here and this, that, and the other. Well,
how the
check this
pendulum.
out. Yesterday, Trudell speaks.
And the pendulum strikes
Immigration.
the other way.
Let's talk about it. In the last 2 years, our population's grown really fast, like baby boom fast. Increasingly, bad actors like fake colleges and big chain corporations have been exploiting our immigration system for their own interests. So we're doing something major. We're reducing
You
the numbers of
fucking
immigrants that
piece
will
of
come to
shit.
Canada for the next 3 years. Today, I'm going to let you in on what
You're
happened,
such a
where
piece
we
of
made some
shit.
mistakes,
What you've done
and
to
why
your
we're
people.
taking this big turn.
Your people hate you,
There are
too.
two kinds of immigration in Canada. The one you probably think of most is permanent immigration, like when families come to Canada to settle.
The illegal
call it home.
immigration.
Every year, the government determines the right number of permanent residents that we want to
Bullshit.
admit. That's how it's been done for decades. But a plan
Fuck
that
you too,
only
though.
talks about permanent immigration misses the other pathway, temporary immigration. Temporary residents are people who come to Canada for a limited time, like international students, temporary workers, and so on. They come to work a job or go to school. When the job is done or when they finish their degree, most return home. Some apply to stay as permanent residents.
No,
but
they
most
don't.
return
No,
home.
they don't. No, they don't.
Historically,
Bullshit.
Canada's annual immigration plan just looked at permanent residents. The number of temporary students and workers that we admitted each year
You
was
know it too. You know it too.
usually a small proportion of our population, so it's never been a part of the long-term immigration plan. But after the
Fidel
pandemic, our economy came
Castro
roaring back
Jr.
quickly. We needed a lot
Oh
of
my
workers.
God.
Canada
Let's-
is in the middle of a huge labor shortage.
Temporary foreign workers became
No,
such
it's
a
not.
significant part of our workforce that it'd be a mistake not to include them when we plan our immigration levels.
Wow, he's getting
So this
roasted.
year, we did exactly that.
Rightfully
This time,
so.
We laid out a plan that sets targets for both permanent and
Yeah.
temporary residents. This way, we're getting the full breakdown of people coming into our country. so
No,
we can
you're
prepare the homes and
not.
infrastructure needed to support them. Like I said, immigration is based on demand. When we set our targets, we
No,
look
it's
at
not.
every province and territory. We ask
You
the
lie,
premiers, what are the
sucker.
gaps in your workforce? Is your population growing or getting older? We field calls from businesses,
You
CEOs,
getting roasted,
economic
rightfully
experts,
so,
all
Chad.
sharing their thoughts on where we should set our targets.
We've had a chronic shortage of labor for the last decade. It's the number one issue of all manufacturers across Canada. So we think there needs to be more, push the pedal to the floor to bring more people into Canada.
Ontario was facing a generational labor shortage.
No, they were
380,000
not.
Jobs are going unfilled.
No. The reason why these countries are letting them in, illegals in, is so they don't have to pay them American minimum wage or Canadian minimum wage or EU, minimum wage. That's why. And they're bullshit. These guys are psychopathic liars. Psychopaths. If people believe this BS. We have hardworking people that will do the labor. And instead they say, hey, bring these illegals in. We'll give them even permanent status. And we'll pay them under minimum wage. That's what they're doing in these countries. Not just America, but you have Canada, UK, which has its own problems. You have the EU, and you have New Zealand, you have Australia. It just goes on and on and on.
It's no surprise that every sector has different wants and needs when it comes to immigration. But after the pandemic, they all came to us with the same message.
Yeah, big
After 2 years of
lockdowns.
closed borders, we need more people, more
No,
workers,
you don't.
fast.
No, you don't.
So we brought in more workers, and it was the right choice. It worked.
No, it
Our
was
economy
not.
grew. Restaurants, stores reopened.
No, it
Businesses
didn't.
kept running. But most
Crime went
importantly,
up.
in spite of lots of
Inflation
economists'
went up.
predictions, we avoided the worst-case scenario, a recession. But some
Bullshit,
saw
it's
that
in a
as an
recession.
opportunity to profit, to game
God.
the system. We've seen way too many large corporations doing this.
The government says
Which
the
is
program
paying
has
you.
been used to get around hiring Canadian workers in some instances.
Far too many colleges and universities used international students to raise their bottom line.
There are the diploma equivalent of puppy mills that are just churning out diplomas. There is fraud and abuse, and it needs to end.
Because they could charge these students tens of thousands of dollars more for the same degree. And then there are really bad actors who outright exploit
That'd be you.
target vulnerable
That'd be your
immigrants with
worst.
promises of jobs, diplomas, and easy pathways to citizenship. Promises that would never come
Quotation
true.
hype, yeah.
Looking back, when the post-pandemic boom cooled and businesses no longer needed the additional labor help, as a
Is he
federal
a
team, we
therapist?
could have acted quicker and turned off the taps faster. Now, it is time to make the adjustments to stabilize the immigration system that we need and get it working right for Canadians, for right now. Immigration is primarily a federal job. We have the levers to rein it in, so we are.
This is a big change, a major cut to immigration, reducing permanent immigration levels by at least 20%. New string of measures to clamp down on temporary immigrants.
That means a decrease in international students, temporary foreign workers.
Canada's new immigration plan is straightforward. Lower the number of new immigrants coming into Canada, both temporary and permanent.
Imagine
We're
that.
prioritizing permanent residents with the skills we
Can you
need.
get a rope for me,
Healthcare
please?
workers for our
John, yeah,
hospitals,
get a
construction
rope,
workers who build
please.
more homes. And those temporary
I think I
residents
need
who are
that rope.
already in Canada, some will apply
Make sure
to
it's
stay in
strong enough
Canada
for my
as
weight.
permanent residents. Since they're already here, established and working, the added pressure put on communities is very low. Or they'll leave Canada when their temporary residency expires, reducing our population. Some temporary residents may turn to our
I said, I
asylum
need something
system when their
faster.
visa expires as a shortcut to stay in Canada. Those claims will be analyzed and processed, and if their claim fails, they'll be sent home. Between the amount of people
This is why we have euthanasia. People are pro. This is one of the reasons why they believe in euthanasia. So you don't have to listen to this.
coming and going, we'll effectively pause population growth for the next 2 years. Then from 2027 onwards, it'll balance out and slowly start increasing again at a sustainable pace. In fact, that gets us back to the population growth we were on before the pandemic.
Magnolia!
This pause is going to give our economy
Oh.
and our community
Oh,
a
gosh.
chance to catch up with things like
Christ.
our plan to
Around here have been extremely vocal. They have told me that in interacting with Governor Nome, she has asked the right questions. She knows how this crisis has impacted landowners and the communities. Now, people down here on the front lines are also hoping that Tom Holmes
We had to fast forward for mental health reasons and because people don't like my movies. An hour and a half to 3 hours too much. But
the president-elect's
We're tired.
orders are that he and his team will really carry the weight of the border
Put the
and
rope away
public
for right
safety
now.
and those mass
the
deportations, which would allow Governor Nome
That's
to
a
focus
string,
on other
not
parts
a
of
rope.
DHS, which includes Secret Service and FEMA.
Ha!
He's picking somebody that's been on the team, and I don't want people to say, "Oh, well, he's just picking these people that are on the team." No, he's picking someone that's on the team that's
No.
intelligent and could get the job done. But I will tell you, I'm not shocked, I'm not upset. I'm happy for it, but it was surprising because I hadn't heard.
this is the thing, is that I believe that in the US, UK, EU, Australia, and New Zealand, Canada, is that this has been breeding racism and prejudice against, certain demographics and color and stuff like that. That's not a good thing. And that's what the Democrats have really done, is create more hate and division. If there would have been a little safe, vetting way of, like the old ways of having immigrants come in and earn their way to show that they could do it the legal way, we wouldn't have this problem. And so today we have more, I'd say, wrongful hate than there was before. And it isn't just Latinos that are coming in. You have people from Ukraine, Russia, China. You have Haiti, other parts of of Africa. You have Muslims from, of course, Muslim countries around Iraq. You have Saudi Arabia. You have Syria. You have Lebanon. List goes on and on. Chinese, stuff like that. It's not just Latino. And you have to worry about the extremists that have, from other countries, infecting this country with extremism, or other countries, as I've documented, UK and some parts of Europe, where they want Sharia law and stuff like that, and how you're supposed to integrate with society and have the same ideals. You're not supposed to go over to our countries and take it over and force your opinions, your religion, and political, social ideologies onto ours. And that's what's been happening, and with crime and everything else, and hate crimes, which I've done, reporting on. So.
Her name.
Now, agents essentially echoing that sentiment. They're banking on Tom Homan to be the enforcer here. One agent telling me, quote, "I think Homan is going to control the border. She is more than qualified, but it will be interesting to see what she can do. It is a big jump from the governor of South Dakota." Another agent saying, quote, "I was surprised. I like her. I think Tom Homan is going to set the tone and advise her in large part, which is a good thing." Now, we can tell you here, the Homeland Security Committee just announced this week that they'll be holding a special hearing next week featuring DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, of course, President Biden's DHS Secretary. Now, this is going to be focusing on threats that the nation is facing because of the border crisis and issues like that, so we can expect that next week. Of course, the DHS Secretary position, Nicole, has been a very embattled one. DHS Secretary Mayorkas has been in the hot seat many, many times, even impeached by the House, but not by the Senate. So she will definitely have her hands full there in that seat as well. Nicole.
Thanks for watching. Go to
Great report by
joinnn.com.
Ali Bradley. But it's interesting because that we discussed, Kristi Noem's role here, and I actually speculated that the Department of DHS, Homeland Security, and the border is going to split. And Homan himself is going to just solely be responsible for the border, while the DHS that's normally does the border will, focus on other things like Secret Service, cybersecurity, and other matters that DHS does. It has a whole list of their the jobs. I actually think it's going to split. We called that out, and it seems like that's possibly going to happen. So,
which I think would be actually the right thing, seeing how corrupt it's been in this administration. We have one person like Mayorkas, running all three and stuff, and it's just when you have one person, it's like you have too central in some ways, where if you have one person running this division or that division, you can have one person just having more corruption and
so maybe, possibly, Kristi Noem doesn't call the shots on the border. It's Tom Homan, or Kristi has to listen to Tom Homan about this, not Kristi telling Tom Homan how to do it. Nevertheless, those individuals, those two individuals are extreme Trump loyalists, and I think they're going to be on the same page regardless of everything. So this will be interesting to see what happens here. Let's get Magnolia in the chat so we can talk a little bit about the...
It could create some infighting, though, sometimes, but it could go either way.
Military, talk about Mayor Adams and his alliance with Trump. A lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts. We're trying to analyze all of this nationwide. We're trying to see who's going to defy Trump, who's going to jump on board with Trump. So far, it looks like Illinois and...
It obviously, stupid Illinois. Those people are pissed in Chicago and in Illinois. They need to kick those bitches out of office. California, stupid Newsom. Yeah.
Massachusetts are going to go against Trump, possibly California too. Hello, Magnolia. Good morning.
Yeah. Hi. Good morning.
Good morning. So let's talk. What should we talk about this morning in reference to these military deportations, Magnolia? Your take.
Yeah. I mean, we reported on this last week. The Trump administration has several plans for the border to curb illegal immigration. So this is one of them. The military, because it's a lot of people that they're trying to. He's getting mowed down. He's absolutely getting full.
Trump is kind of like falling in line.
Yeah, and you see what's happening with the people who are trying to be defiant, like Brandon Johnson, who, by the way, daily reminder to Brandon Johnson that he needs to resign.
We're talking about the mayor of Chicago. I'm going to get a picture of him right now.
So you see what's happening with him. I mean, he's trying to be defiant, and he's trying to continue whatever scams he's got going on that are wrapped up in this illegal.
And essentially, you're throwing Americans under a bus by doing that. You're saying that I love illegals taking your money and American hard-earned resources and earned benefits away from Americans and giving it to illegals and giving them everything. You're pretty much saying F Americans and giving it to illegals. And a lot of illegals don't have to work for it. There's some that there are some that are, no doubt. Some are given American jobs for lower wages, which pisses a lot of people off. But it's
legal industry, but he's getting mowed down. He's absolutely getting bowled over by his own residents. By
he wasn't even allowed at a funeral of an officer.
His own city council voted 50-0 against his migrant plans. The police officers have no respect for him. There was a police officer recently killed in the line of duty, and there was a huge scene where they publicly were saying that they didn't want him to come to the funeral, and he was saying he was still going to go anyway, and then there was all this drama, and ultimately he didn't go. So he's getting run out of the city by his own people, by his own city council. So I just think that this whole Defiant Act is really not going to go over, because the residents of Chicago have had it, and that's how most people feel in the country. And I think the election really spoke loudly.
As I said, he's actually not exactly the most hated. He's one of them. Look at Tiffany Hilliard. That's also in Illinois. All right? Yeah, I believe it's in Illinois. They have so much corruption there. And what she's done. Super Mayor Tiffany Hilliard, look it up.
Well, look,
that people are fed up with this stuff.
Look at the Daily Mail. This article says America's most hated mayor is blasted by fuming residents over radical policy, and the policy would be migrants. You know, the $300 million proposed property tax, which was shot down 50-0, by the way, by the alders there in Chicago. The residents, and we did a live on that over the weekend. Yeah. So this was a Daily Mail yesterday. They probably watched our video because we talked about this days before that, about the residents going wild on Brandon Johnson. And we pretty much speculate here because we pretty much, us, Magnolia, I will admit that, and I'm not boasting and bragging, but we do kind of go ahead of the curve here. Where we see these trends and where things are going here. And it's not good for Mayor Johnson's, particularly where I think he shot off with his mouth as soon as Trump was won the election, shot out with his mouth saying, well, we're going to defy him. Immigrants are welcome here. We're not cooperating, right? But then he's realizing now that the national consensus is not on board with that. It's not 216. anymore.
Yeah.
It's not 216. There's a whole what we're saying, folks, is regardless if you like Trump or not, it's a lot different. The president-elect Trump is a lot different than it was President Trump in 2016. A lot of people defied him instantly, and there was a lot of people, including politicians around the country, that were saying that they're not going to, they're just they're going to resist him. That's the word I'm looking for. But now it seems like all these people, except a few, like Johnson tried it, just like Letitia James tried it with the AG of New York, and I don't think it's going to go well for her either.
No, I don't think so. But this is everything we're seeing right now is things like moments in history like this are inevitable when you have policies that go so far to the extreme. And, a lot of people look at politics like a pendulum, and the pendulum swings back and forth. And for the last...
I told her this is freaky because I say the same thing a lot of times. I'm trying to keep it out video, though, because I'm afraid people wouldn't catch my meaning. But I've been using how the pendulum strikes, and the pendulum strikes. And this goes way back to hundreds and hundreds of years ago, hearing this stuff. So,
for years, the pendulum has swung extremely, extremely far to the left, and it's a situation. The reason why people have whiplash right now is just because of how extreme things got in the last 4 years. Because it's one thing to say we accept immigrants, we want to help immigrants come to America and have the American dream, which is how I think most people feel. But it's one thing to feel that way, but then it's quite another when you just completely open the borders and you let everybody and their mama come in for 4 years straight. Things just went way too far, and so now we're seeing the pendulum swing back even harder, and that's what happens. It's like if you go way too far one way, it's going to swing back even further the other way.
Yeah, but
and populism is what is taking over this country. It's populism on the left, populism on the right, have pretty much coalesced around these issues, and now that's why we're seeing such a huge shift in public sentiment.
Well, would that shift go back towards sympathy for the migrants if there's images?
I couldn't use all of my words properly because I'm on a stupid phone. I was going to bed, and this pops up. So it's like I can't say things right on stupid phones. I hate phones.
Is the military going door to door, pulling people out and arresting them, or is that possible that the military is going to go door to door, or is it just going to be more like covert operations where we don't necessarily?
I said this. They're not going to just go to everyone's door. They're not going to do that. I mean, he thinks that could happen and everything. And I don't think that will. I think they're going to just go after people that have records and people that they vetted that have those tattoos and gangs, affiliations, stuff like that. I see that happening, but I don't see them going after everybody, because that'd just be crazy. That's too much money, and people don't want to see that militarization of just going after everybody on the streets and stuff like that. I mean, what people say and what people say and what people really want can be two different things. When it happens.
No, I expect that it'll probably be precision operations. I think we sort of went through this the other day, but there are certain priorities here.
But I also think that they're going to inform some media of when they're going to do it to get that optics out there, of images of this happening, because I feel like I just feel like select media is going to be.
Yeah, this is going to be the key, is how media reports it. It's all about optics, too. If the media, like last time, how they reported it, it turned the people against Trump. You saw kids crying, you saw families torn apart, and that was one of the reasons why he didn't get reelected, besides stuff with COVID and stuff like that. No matter what we think about COVID and everything, and the truth with that and everything, people don't like to see kids, torn away from families, and families broken up, crying. And if media turns against Trump, people are very fast. It's about optics. And nobody likes to see family broken up or torn apart. They say that they're okay with it now. It won't. It'll change fast. It will. And these are just like a few thousand are in the chat versus, millions of people that are going to be seeing this on the news and other places, and how they skew it to their own beliefs and political beliefs, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, is going to be a big thing. Also, you don't know some of these kids, if it's their real parents. There needs to be DNA testing with a lot of the kids and the adults they come with. There needs to be DNA testing.
Conveniently there, while this is going on.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be, but it has to be precise as it can be. But there are priorities. The gangs, Tren de Aragua is probably the number one priority, because they've been spreading throughout the country at quite a pretty fast rate. Every time we turn around, we hear about that gang in another state. So that's the priority. So there will have to be operations that are stood up to be run for that, and they're going to go through all the bogus asylum claims and put out deportation orders. But yeah, I think there may be cases where you do see a whole bunch of people being rounded up, and I don't know how people will feel about that, but I think one thing's for sure: most people are against what has been going on the last few years, and they want some type of relief.
Speaking of Tren de Aragua, this has just been put out by Ali Bradley from News Nation. And Laken Riley's killer, Jose Ibarra, who is on trial right now. The trial's going on right now. People are live streaming the trial. DHS sources just confirmed to me that the suspect in the murder of Georgia nursing student Laken Riley is a confirmed member of Tren de Aragua. Until now, it was considered speculation. He crossed into the country illegally through El Paso in 2022 and was released with a court date due to lack of bed space, according to DHS. He was arrested while in the U.S., but not removed because of the nature of the crime. The 26-year-old from Venezuela is charged with malice murder, felony murder, aggravated battery, aggravated assault, false imprisonment, kidnapping, hindering a 911 call, and concealing the death of another. He waived his right to a jury trial, and he's facing a judge right now in a bench trial. Trial resumes today. So confirmed today for the first time, he's Tren de Aragua.
Yeah, not a surprise there. A lot of these people that are coming in from Venezuela and these other countries, they're leaving Venezuela because the gangs took over, and for whatever reason, I guess.
Well, this is the from what I've seen also, is that they have super prisons in some of these South American countries now. And they said, either you're going to have to leave our country or you're going to our prisons. If you have even a tattoo, this is El Salvador, these Honduras. I'm not sure about Honduras, but some of these countries, it's illegal to be a part of a gang and stuff. And they got sick of all the crime. And they said, you guys are going to have to go to America to do that. And this is the reason why they're flooding in. It's not just Trinidad, it's other gangs too from other countries. They make their own gangs, their own crime syndicates. It infects our country and stuff. So it's not just Trinidad, and stuff from Nicaragua, whatever, you have different types of gangs coming through from different countries, and stuff, that crime's just rising and stuff, so.
He thought, he probably got wrapped up in something in Venezuela and had to get out of there too. So they're coming here. And, this is the stuff people are seeing. This is just insanity. The crimes that they're committing, the brazenness of it all. It's just so much in your face that people are just done. They're over it. And these type of people do not represent what we talk about when we say we want immigrants to come and live the American dream. We're not talking about Jose Ibarra.
Yeah, exactly.
when we're having those discussions, So now, one thing I wanted to mention with these mass deportations, something a lot of people probably don't realize. There are a lot of people that are on the deportation list already.
Yeah, 700,000.
Yes, there's a lot of people that have deportation orders. But the issue that we've had over the last few years, only a fraction of people on that list are actually deported. I forget the percentage, but it's in the teens. It's a very small fraction of people on that list that are actually deported. So that is just another area.
Yeah, somebody's talking about the jails and the prison. That's the thing. That nobody talks about how jails and prisons, they're taking over these gangs. And so the established gangs are already there. This causes more fighting, more violence in jails and prisons. More deaths, more murder, more stabbings and stuff. Which is terrible.
Where with the Biden administration, that was not a priority. That was probably, by the looks of the numbers, that was probably at the very bottom of their list. So the Trump administration, all they have to do is simply reprioritize those people on that list. And that right there already gives them, what do you say, 700,000 people?
That's what Holman said. 700,000 already got the orders to go. That's but where are they?
A list of people that they have, and so all they have to do is just make that a priority and have certain task force that are devoted to that list and those operations and getting those people. So you already have a lot of these things in place. It's just a matter.
And what Janet says in chat, the Americans don't have a chance to live the dream. That's fact. And that these illegals and virus coming through are given preferential treatment over Americans is the biggest slap in the face of this bullshit that there is. That's not okay. Say F you to the American people. We're to give preferential treatment, give them special status over everybody else.
Of prioritizing and then actually executing. So, and the Biden administration just simply wasn't doing it. They just weren't carrying out these orders, and a lot of the sanctuary cities were harboring these people. And what Eric Adams is saying, you know, if we have criminals like that, we should be able to deport them. Because the way it is now, I think the policies in New York, which I don't know, he's going to have to do something about that, because it's their own policies that are preventing these criminals from being deported. It's the catch and release. It's all that type of stuff. So they're also going to have to probably change
all these
policies.
different
But
states, like
it's already in place. It just has to be executed.
Mara, thank you for that, Mara. Thank you for the comment. Appreciate the support. Thank you for your membership too. But you know, are we going to see Humvees going around the cities, or is this again? We are in an unprecedented times. But they've clearly said, the administration, they're doing mass deportations. Now Trump has said and confirmed and kicked it even up a notch, saying military. Well, one, national emergency. I don't know what that is. Is that martial law? And military assets will be deployed to stop and assist with the deportations, to stop the flow of coming in and to assist with the deportations. What does that mean, though?
It doesn't mean martial law. It just means that they will be able to access funds and appropriate funds and resources toward deportations.
So no checkpoints?
He's declaring an emergency, a national emergency. So that means if there needs to be a deportation operation run in, let's say, San Diego, the Trump administration, because they've declared a national emergency, they will then be able to use national resources like the military and things like that on the ground.
Yeah, but like, okay, so for instance, when we go to the border, all along the southern border, everywhere within, about 20 miles inland, there's a Border Patrol checkpoint, right? Yeah. Let me actually try to get a video here just to show viewers. So a Border Patrol checkpoint is on the major strategic roads, 30, but they're planted all over the place, but usually most of them are about 30 miles from the border. It's like the way to get into the United States, the main routes or whatever like that. Literally, Border Patrol has a checkpoint. Sometimes they're made up. Sometimes they're just like formed on the fly, and other things that they're normally there. But they make you pull in, you wait in line, and Border Patrol is waiting there, and they look you in the eye, and they specifically ask, "Are you a U.S. citizen?" And if they believe anyone is suspicious, they'll run the dogs and they'll search people's vehicles, to make sure that the illegals aren't.
I would think they're to have checkpoints if he's talking about like how we have DUI checkpoints during the holidays or certain times of the year. I don't think they're to have that everywhere. I don't. People would like that. Even the people in chat that would say that they do. I don't think they think of that because it's infringing on liberties. And say, hey, we just want to get back and forth freely. We don't want search dogs, robot dogs, which I hate in the first place. They shouldn't use that. But people would not like that. That would go bad very, very fast. I don't see them doing that. This is something right here. Miss Melissa, don't need illegals when we have, illegals create problems with enough of our own American citizens committing heinous crimes. Unfortunately, not as important to a lot of people. I think that's why they voted for Trump. That's the reason why I did. One of the reasons. I'm independent. I vote for both sides. And that's one of the reasons we have enough problems here with our own crime and gangs and stuff like that, and drugs and everything else. The illegal element compounds it, makes it that much worse. There needs to be a legal vetting process.
Getting smuggled through, or drugs, or whatever. are we in a time where they're going to do this in the cities, the military? And I ask that because it seems like that, to me, I think that's a possibility, Magnolia. I really do. In a national emergency temporarily, I feel like this could happen. I don't know, but I feel like it could happen.
What, going door to door?
Not door to door, checkpoints.
Yeah.
Checkpoints.
I don't think so.
Similar to what they have on the southern border. I really think we're here's the thing about it is the Trump administration has the momentum right now with the optics. They have the momentum. They have most Americans on board with this, and the ones and the ones again that aren't on board of this get completely ratioed, or like for instance Twitter. I mean, there's people that are against me at mass deportations and against Trump.
So he said, I want to be a Chinese illegal, or I want to be a Canadian illegal. Yes. I try that every day, to be illegal going to Canada and stuff like that. Unfortunately, there's too many cameras.
Trump policies, and they've exited Twitter. They have shut down their accounts and left.
Yeah.
But I don't think these people have a say anymore,
Well,
or any
I
type
mean,
of an influential opinion that matters,
Well,
where they can
no
incite the
one-
masses to go against this type of policy.
Well, no one
It's all
cares.
about
It's like they're leaving Twitter, but I don't think most people even notice that they're gone. I mean, I don't. I remember the other day, Don Lemon put out a whole statement about how he was leaving Twitter, and I was like, I've never even seen him on Twitter. Like, I would never have known the difference. So it's a lot of those people are just, narcissistic. They think they need to make this grand announcement, but no one cares. No one cares anymore. So, it's just, they may add checkpoints and things like that, but, I just want to reiterate, there's already a lot of laws in place already with immigration. And they just need to be implemented.
Enforced.
Here, I'm gonna
enforced. There's a lot of things that are already in place, like we just talked about. There's already people on the deport list that just have not been deported because it's not been a priority. So it's really not. I mean, it sounds like this whole crazy thing, which I'm sure that there will be some dramatic episodes that we see with these deportations. But I mean, for the most part, these are policies already in place. I mean, they're already on the list. You already have a list of people. You just need to go carry it out. There's other things already in place, like what we talked about, the app, the CBP1 app, where all these people have put in their information. They've already got all that data in there. There's just certain things that the laws are already there, and they just need to be implemented and enforced. And then some of the things I'm sure Trump plans to do via executive order, like the Remain in Mexico. He may use it
about Catholic Charities here
by the cartels. I think that's pretty clear. And
Look at this, Magnolia. Here's a Daily Mail article.
Let's see here.
They're starting to see an uptick, and this is how they do it. They just come right to the border and cross. This is he's on the Mexican side, so that's Eagle Pass there. That's Shelby Park. You could see the what are they? The shipping crates, the shipping containers there, and the barbed wire. But they're crossing. They're crossing in. They're trying to get in. Look at that. So the surge is.
This Michael Bowen says, it's a really good way he said, this type of shit makes people racist. They hate what these people are doing to America. That's what I've been saying, and it's particularly the Democrats have created this. In other countries, liberals have. UK and European countries, Australia, New Zealand and stuff. Australia and New Zealand's curbed things quite a bit. But they created this hate, and they need to own up to that fact. In the UK, there's dictatorship because people have gotten sick and called out the government. There's mass protests just using social media, Facebook, Twitter. They got 10 years prison just for calling out the government on their bullshit of where migrants and Muslim extremists have attacked natives there, and hate crimes against native people. And they said that it was UK citizens that were the problem, not the migrants.
Is coming, but Texas vows to continue to fight against it, and they're prepared. They're prepared.
Yeah, it looks like there's, this final push for people that are trying to get in before Trump takes office, and I don't know what their plan is. I guess they want to get here and take their chances to see if they'll be deported or not.
No, I think they're getting duped and manipulated by the cartels and the NGOs of the other side by saying this is your last chance. You'll never be able to cross again. Pay right now. You better cross before January 20th, or you won't ever be able to cross.
Yeah.
And just manipulating people.
Yeah, I'm sure. But yeah, so those people, a lot of the ones that he was showing there coming through Eagle Pass, those people most likely have signed up through the CBP One app, and they will have an interview when they come in about their asylum claim, and they'll be given a court date, but they'll just be lumped in with everyone else who's come in through that app. And if their reason for seeking asylum does not meet the criteria, they'll be put on the deportation list right along with everyone else. So, yeah, I think that's kind of what you said is what we've seen this whole time is, the migrants, for the most part, are being taken advantage of by the cartels.
Charities,
I think that's pretty clear.
Look at this, Magnolia. Here's a Daily Mail article affirming what we've been reporting. This is an article that just came out a little bit ago this morning. Donald Trump confirms he's prepared to declare. Or I never even seen images of a caravan cross the border, like a caravan, like the walking groups of people.
I see that.
Never seen it. Caravans. I've seen like trickles of 40 to 50 at a time, but again, if you're watching,
Charities. Here it is, right here.
Called out Catholic.
At least like a 75% reduction in really defending Annunciation House. So just
Catholic chair, wild stuff, nighttime smuggling, migrants still pouring in.
To defund some of these NGOs. We could see that in certain cities, like Denver and some of these different hotspots. It's possible. But yeah, I think by and large, it's not going to be like as dramatic as it sounds. I'm sure there will be crazy optics for some of this, but I think what I'm looking for that will probably cause the most outrage will be if they announce they're going to defund
Patrol was laughing at that. Let's go to that. This pissed me off.
You wait in line, and it's your turn. Your turn to go up.
Yeah, it pissed me off.
And it's like
off.
this
They're
little
laughing
house
at
here,
this shit.
And you're ready to see Border Patrol. And let's see. Let's turn it up. Let's see what I say to him. Let's see.
Texas, Eagle Pass.
It's a
Border Patrol checkpoint. Look at this.
Yeah, they seem to have a good old time laughing about this. Just letting everybody through. I hate them. I hate them. They're a problem. Pieces of shit. Just let them right
Hi.
there. These are same people that deconstructed and destroyed fences and barbed wire from keeping illegals out. The same POSs.
How are you?
How's it going?
Sorry.
U.S. citizens?
Yeah, are you U.S. citizen?
Thank you.
That's what I thought.
I said, are you U.S. citizen?
Good question.
See what I'm saying? Like, I feel
Are you
like
citizen?
we might be in an era, Magnolia, where we get that. I asked him
love
if he
that.
was a U.S. citizen.
Yeah, I think we could see that in certain cities, like Denver and some of these different hot spots. It's possible. But yeah, I mean, I think by and large, it's not going to be
Let's
like
go with
as
Catholic
dramatic as
Charities
people
thing.
as it's.
Houses,
stuff here.
Catholic Charities, massive cuts, migrant
To defund some of these NGOs. I mean,
Yeah, let's get-
I think by and large, it's.
U.S. citizens?
Yeah, are you U.S. citizen?
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's go back here.
I said, are you U.S.
We're
citizen?
getting to it. We're getting to the nitty-gritty.
See what I'm
It's
saying?
this-
Like, I feel like we might be in an era, Magnolia, where we get that. I asked him if he was a U.S. citizen.
Yeah, I think
Rightfully so.
we could see that in certain cities, like Denver and some of these different hot spots. It's possible. But yeah, I mean, I think by and large, it's not going to be like as dramatic as it sounds. I'm sure there will be crazy optics for some of this, but to defund some of these NGOs, I think that will really. I think people will go crazy.
This is
about
Catholic
that.
Charities.
Why, though? Catholic
Yeah,
You could
Charities?
these
see
other
you could see like
sister
protests
organizations.
and different. I just think that. I think out of everything they could possibly do, I think that would be probably the most controversial and the thing that'll cause the most drama.
I mean, we pretty much have made lots of videos with Catholic Charities. I just went into the Google search right here, or I'm sorry, the YouTube.
Yeah, and people should look this up about Catholic Charities and these other sister organizations that is supposed to be for helping Americans and people in need that are poor and on the streets. They're not doing that. They're trafficking. They're human traffickers for illegals. They're helping them get jobs, taking jobs away from Americans. They're giving them free housing, helping illegals get free housing, free food stamps, rent, food, and everything. All this while people are suffering on the streets and everything. And it
search, and we've made videos after videos about secret warehouses at Catholic Charities, secret warehouses, Catholic
They need to be
Charities,
destroyed.
massive cuts,
They need to be totally
migrant
destroyed.
buses going into different facilities. I mean, we made a lot of videos covering Catholic Charities, wild stuff.
And you can see a lot of other people on YouTube about and other media organizations covering Catholic Charities and their PS and other charities that's supposed to be working for American people, and they're not. They don't care anything about them. They need to be totally destroyed.
Stuff, nighttime smuggling, migrants still pouring in, bus chases, back alley drop-offs, back alleys that come. I mean, we were at Catholic Charities we've seen some wild stuff at Catholic Charities, right?
Yeah, I mean, but just look in Texas. Look at what happened with the Annunciation House when Ken Paxton announced that he was not only investigating them, they got raided. They got full-blown raided and accused of human trafficking, for crying out loud. People were outraged about that, and people were really defending Annunciation House. So just think about that situation and multiply it by like 1,000, and that'll be the reaction if the Trump administration announces some type of major defunding of Catholic Charities. But I think it could happen. I really do. With because that money that's going to Catholic Charities and to the migrant resettlement programs it's all appropriated from FEMA, which is under DHS. So if they're talking about
like we said, there is private donors. Can't stop that, obviously. People can donate whoever they want to. If they want to, they can do that. They should never get government assistance, however. Never. They need to be totally excluded and destroyed from doing that. If you, me, or someone else wants to give to an organization, that's fine. But when they give from the government and lie to the people are scammers, which these are fraudsters and scammers that claim to help, American people, stuff like that. And if you're to help everybody, be truthful about transparent. They're not. They need to be taken account of for that and totally, done.
going in there, overhauling DHS, completely dismantling FEMA and starting
Missing
over.
children.
I don't think Catholic
300,000
Charities
missing
is
children.
going to be part of the new plan. I just don't see it. I don't think that they'll completely defund them altogether.
Why not?
But I think we could see at least like a 70.
And these people are taking illegals in these charities. I don't see them exactly questioning, who's your children. With over 300,000 children missing from this border crisis. And this is something that needs, to be brought out in the bigger public picture. What's happening with this human trafficking, sex trafficking? What's happening with this? There's a lot of stuff that's not being told. And more and more people are waking up to this, and it really needs to be brought out to the front, and about these charities and these politicians that are letting this happen around the country and other countries. You got Canada, UK, and EU. That really, the truth needs, people need
5% reduction in funding from the federal government going towards NGOs like Catholic Charities.
What about Catholic Charities' sister? What is her name? Premia? What is her name? The sister?
Norma?
Sister Norma. Yeah, Sister Norma. Do you think they'll bring her Sister Norma? Do you think they'll bring Sister Norma in front of Congress to explain herself?
They should.
Imagine if they raid Catholic Charities.
They should raid Catholic
Magnolia,
Charities.
I'm telling you, this Catholic Charities is
They
done.
should raid
It's
the
gone.
bitch. They should raid
It's
the
gone.
bitch.
I don't even think they're going to get a penny. I don't think they're getting a penny. I mean...
Why am I using this language? I'm sorry, but I'm not. It's just, I'm so pissed off about the lies that these stupid Catholic charities are doing in the name of religion. And they're such liars and POSs. I have no respect, no love. I have nothing but so much hate for liars like this that misrepresent and that just...
some of the advocates out there for the border being secured has specifically called out Catholic Charities and said defund Catholic Charities. This is who runs Catholic Charities, by the way. Remember we saw her on one of my lives in McAllen.
Yep. She's like the godmother.
She's like the godmother of illegal
immigration.
She is
mafia. The
immigration mafia complex. Yeah,
Sister Norma Pimentel.
But yeah, I think that would actually cause outrage. But yeah, I see it coming.
Hey, it's getting clean.
Because, here's the thing about Catholic Charities. they don't get all of their funding from the federal government. They get a sizable amount, but they also get a significant amount of funding from private donorship. So they would be forced to rely primarily on private donations if the government decides to cut them off. So they still would operate, they still would exist, but they would have to completely change everything they're doing, because if you don't have thousands of migrants flooding through every city on the border every day, what are you going to do with your time? You don't have all these migrants coming in. So I think Catholic Charities and places like that, originally they're supposed to be helping those that are disadvantaged in their communities, like homeless people, veterans, different things like that. So it would automatically cause them to go back to doing that type of work and helping Americans in need. And that's kind of how all of these policies will trickle down, is like, if you're taking everything away from the migrant crisis, then that means a lot of resources now can be coming back to American citizens that have been overlooked and literally ignored for the last several years. Literally, we've seen homeless people sitting on the street right outside of a shelter that's full of migrants. So things like that will reverse.
Why do I have soap here? Because if I'm coming back from walking in groceries, I got wounds on my feet. So I gotta have soap here to clean my feet or whatever sometimes. So
Texas, I monitor Abbott on Texas, and they got big plans here to continue with their border securing down there. He keeps posting photos on Twitter. Over the past week, Texas National Guards stopped hundreds of illegal crossings into our state. Texas will continue to deploy drone teams and ground units to hold the line. And there is one journalist that I've been looking at on Twitter. This guy here is an independent journalist, and he had posted this in just the last day. And this border town just across from Eagle Pass is seeing a larger presence of illegal immigrants. This group of approximately 30, including children, eventually crossed and set foot on U.S. soil by Shelby Park. Other groups of hundreds are being crossed in more remote areas in a coordinated way, very similar to what we witnessed in 2023. The difference between the two types of this group is their ability to pay human smugglers or cross on their own. The sense of urgency to cross before Texas gets into, or before Trump gets into the White House, as I've been warning about, is happening throughout Mexico. And he shared this video, and these are crossings that are starting to occur again in Eagle Pass. People are crossing over. This is
where I went over that. But yeah, cartels and different people from Mexico, America are making, it's a multi-billion-dollar business for trafficking these people. So if they're not happy, if they're going to lose out on money, they want to make money, as much money as they can. And the problem is, the real victims are people that don't have money, that don't make it here. They're dying, being taken advantage of, or killed for not having the money to get here, are really the ones in need, versus the people that are well clothed, well groomed, have food, they got all stuff. They don't need that. They got money. So what the hell are they bringing into America if these are the people in need, the poor, the downtrodden, that need it, that need a better life or whatever? This is another thing. Anyways, everybody, I just have to do this real quick. Tell your thoughts and what you think. Take care. Have a great morning, night, wherever you are.